Welcome back to Coffee with Krav. I'm really excited about today's episode. First of all, this is the first time that we're going on the road, Anthony Bourdain style over here. I'll tell you the origination of this. I walk into a coffee shop almost every day, and I'm talking to the proprietor of the coffee shop, and I tell him about Coffee with Krav, and he says, "Hey, why don't you just have it here?" And I'm thinking, coffee, coffee shop. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, for the first time on the road, we are here at a coffee shop, and I'm going to be interviewing the owner of the coffee shop. So, let me give you a little bit of a bio of the owner, and you're going to really love it, guaranteed. Okay. Our guest, Evan Church. Evan is a licensed associated real estate broker for the Corcoran Group and a proud owner of Nice Place Coffee Shop. Evan is a award-winning real estate broker that is in Brooklyn, Williamsburg, Greenpoint areas, Manhattan, and the Hamptons. He has over 18 years of experience and has worked on projects ranging from new developments, sales, rental projects, commercial, residential, real estate transactions. Evan recently ventured into the specialty eatery business by opening his first coffee shop in the Hamptons. Evan will join us to discuss how he's juggling three boys, a booming real estate business, a brand new coffee shop, among other things, what will be a far-reaching and fun interview. Welcome, Evan Church. Oh, great. So, Evan, I'm going to start from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up. I was born in the city. When I was a stroll out to Long Island. So I grew up really between Massapequa Park.
You're a Long Island boy.
Yeah, I spent. There's a lot of Brooklyn in me. I always say that I'm Park Brooklyn because I spent a lot of time between Massapequa and Brooklyn. I had elderly grandparents who were in their late 80s, early 90s when I was a kid. So every holiday and every chance we had, we spent in Williamsburg and Greenpoint. So I always had one half in, one foot in, one foot out.
I don't know if you know this, but my grandmother,
Yes, yes, yes.
anytime. So,
If I'm quite sure.
who would you hero from?
Oh, well, that's interesting.
What kind of make you say?
I
What do you look at?
I have to say, well, just the superhero that comes to mind, Superman, was always the superhero um, who I looked up to. Was the person who I thought was probably the most tried and true. Maybe it was because of the time I was being brought up in the late 70s, early 80s. Christopher Reeve and Superman was quite a splash at the time. I also think that the other person in life was Sylvester Stallone during Rocky. I think if you take those two characters and you bridge them together, you get a pretty interesting, full-figured human being. So I would say that somewhere between Superman and Rocky are the two people that when I grew up, when I looked in the mirror, I thought that I wanted to.
So, he is a-
Oh man! So first of all, not to just to stay on to my bio earlier, I've been in a real estate broker for the past 25 years. I'm one of the highest regarded, highly accoladed, the most accolades that my company exists. I've received every single one of them for numerous years in a row. I've been on the president's council, I think, probably like 8 out of the last 12 years, maybe more than that. We're going on our ninth trip this year. But I've been in real estate ever since I could breathe. There's two things that I always found really engaging. One was food and drink. I was always into food and drink wildly. I was passionate about it. And real estate was always very interesting to me at a young age, doing so much traveling back and forth. Um, from Massapequa Park to Brooklyn all the time, it was really like an enlightening experience. Like a lot of people grow up in a very cushy atmosphere in Massapequa where I grew up. It said I did like 80s, 90s growing up. But in fact, I got smart. I learned a lot of things traveling to Brooklyn a lot, seeing what people had and didn't have. I also saw that my grandparents had a three-family house, which my father was. So I always was very interested in the tenants and who was there. And so, yeah, they had a three-bed right in the middle of Williamsburg, Brooklyn. So the areas I always loved real estate. I loved to look and I loved the idea. I saw what people were doing in real estate and I liked what they were doing, identified with. So it was something that I felt that I only do things that I'm passionate. If I don't have a passion for them, it's just not fun, right? Do what our mom tells us, do what you like. So that's really where it began, those two places as a kid. And then later I followed up in college. And when I came back, my cousin Dave had just literally started a company in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. First of its time, we just started to rent apartments in Brooklyn in early 2000. And we blew it out of the water. And later I just left to fulfill my own professional goals later on. And here we are 25 years later. And I'm very proud of what we have.
Well, you mentioned for number one team, team, number one rental team company wide.
Yeah, we're also number one Brooklyn team company wide. We're also President's Council, Silver Council, Gold Council, Platinum Council. But none of that really matters because that's not me, right? Because really the recipe to all that success is the strong team. You're only as strong as your teammate, just like I am here, right? It's about the strength of your people, the caliber of the people you have working for you, the trust you have, and whether or not the people that you have working for you care about what they're doing. And so I've been very, very, very fortunate to have really lifelong, almost partners, family, friends. My partner, Chris Cavorti, my partner, Marvin Shu, my first partner, my best friend, my partner, my wife, Kate Church, who's an incredible inspiration to me every single day, who gets me up. I wake up every day thinking about what I can do to make life better. And she's an incredible inspiration for everything we do. And designed our place here and began working in real estate a long time, way back when.
Okay, so you established a very successful. What does a successful real estate person do? They focus around my neighborhood. What do you think?
We were thinking about it for a long time. I've always been, always wanted to have something to do. Our third child was getting out of training mills, and Kate wanted to get involved in doing something else, trying to figure out what we wanted to do. There was always a need we felt for a coffee place here locally in the suburbs, to be honest with you. I think that there wasn't something at the time. Also, the idea here was always coffee and chocolate together. I had been working a few years previously. I'm a full residential and commercial broker. So we were working with some chocolate companies in Williamsburg not Williamsburg, Bushwick and Ridgewood, who were looking to expand. And we had the chance to really take a look at some of these factories and warehouses, everything that was going on. And I thought it was extremely interesting. I thought it was amazing the world of chocolate that was out there. It was by far different than anything I had ever seen or understood. And I was immediately drawn into it. My, curiosity for food and drink. And I think that the amazing thing about coffee and chocolate is it's such a PG medium. It's an amazing medium for anything. For communication, they're so malleable in what you can turn them into that it's just really, I find coffee and chocolate to be such a beautiful, refreshing thing. So,
I'm definitely going to get back to the chocolate in a second. But yeah, the successful Great Boys, Phoenix, Hudson, Kate. You mentioned Kate before, and now you have a coffee. How do you juggle all this stuff? How do you do all that?
So it's definitely, you do these kinds of things, you have to be on all the time. When I say on all the time, you just have to have a lot of, I'm very passionate about the things I care about. I'm also, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm one of those people that works on 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night. That's who I am. So rather than, I don't even drink that much coffee, but that's one of the things that I've learned is that you don't fight what you have. You learn to work with it, and life gets a lot easier, And so, yeah, coffee was a great way. I'm up every day at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. And it's a great way to start the day to come in. And really for me, Kate and I, but for me in particular, is that I really like being back, like really on the ground with people, talking to them, sending them out every day happy. I like to see the smile on their face. I love the instant gratification that comes with that. And I like that everywhere. I try to incorporate that into, I like that my family comes and visits. My oldest son, Kane, what a responsible, amazing boy he is. He comes in, he loves the barista. Hudson does the labeling. Kate is the chief baker who does like half of our baking, vegan, gluten-free. She spends hours painstakingly putting together recipes, for people to come in and to enjoy. And, you know, for me, I love it. It's a lot of pressure. It's definitely a pressure situation. But if you've been in real estate for 25 years, residential, commercial, in New York City, and you've been battling it out, doing well, there's not, I mean, I hope that I have the ability to be able to carry this through. So far, it's worked out really
So I want to talk about the community
yeah.
that you've created. You're talking. You're not on the main street. You're not you're right next to the train station. You're talking, and people are coming from far and wide to come here. Now, in a year,
And we don't do any advertising at all. We really don't. We do nothing but our online Instagram. We're really like, we grew our real estate business. I'm all about doing it naturally. I feel like naturally is always the best way. It may be more slowly, but you know, it's really the way to get people to come out is very simple. It's the same way that I did in real estate. You know, when people go out and they choose a real estate offer, they choose between typically two or three choices, right? There's someone recommended, there's someone they talk to, and there's another broker somewhere that did something local, right? And you know, I've always been of the thought that you know I wear my heart on my sleeve. You know, our accolades and what we do speaks for ourselves. A lot of people talk, but we're all about action, and so we don't just talk about what we have. We back everything else we have, and also it comes from 200%. It's about customer service and quality. These are the two things everything comes from. People will come back for customer service, and people will come back for quality. Things here that are the most important, especially in the food business today, where you can go out and get a cup of coffee anywhere. You can get a scone anywhere. You can get a muffin anywhere, but you can't get the muffins we make here. You can't get the gluten-free chocolate chip homemade cookies we make here. You can't get, you can't get, there's a host of things you can't do here, but the quality that we have speaks for itself. If I'm so proud to own 96 5 stars in one full year of being open, not one being asked for. That's just on Google alone. On the other sites, I think we're between 55 stars between Yelp and all the other ones. And people actually reach out and they pour their hearts out about their experience here. It never ever gets old hearing that you're doing the right job, and I like that. Right? I think we all do, human. And just one last thing to close that situation with is really one of the big thoughts about this place was, you know, COVID was in the middle of COVID, and Nice Place Coffee was a place to bring the old community, a coffee shop together. You know, there are three things that have been taken. We're also an art gallery. If you notice, we keep local. We're all local art on the wall. We have our second exhibition on the wall right now. But oh, I just lost my train of thought.
that's okay.
Anyway, go ahead, move on. I apologize.
Just to speak to what you were saying, my daughter had a friend over.
Yes.
And they came to stop, and you're giving away chocolates. They're giving away stuff. Came back and said, "Oh, how's the coffee? How does he make money? He's giving away all this stuff. He's giving away chocolate. He's giving away food. He's giving away shots."
So you know me about
you're creating a great feeling, great atmosphere for people, and also speaking of community, you also I think for a period of time, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you had music. So music is very much
so
a big part of
community. So that's what I was getting into, and I got lost in what's happened. So, you know, the things that in COVID we really felt, Kate and I felt that were being just lost and taken for granted. A few things: coffee, chocolate, you know, just some music, a quiet place to sit and talk where, like, you know, people aren't just like going in and out. Everything we do here is grind and order. So typically, if you need to be out of here in 2 minutes, you know, we can do it. But if we're busy, you may have to wait a little. Every cup of coffee is fresh. We don't use a drip machine. We do drip a decaf once in a while, 2 or 3 times a week on busy days now in the off season. But literally, all of these things we felt were taken for granted. They were lost in COVID. People were sitting on their phones, and we wanted a place we wanted to meet the community, we wanted to serve the community, and we also wanted to be a destination, something special. I never thought that we would be able to survive off the community alone. Personally, I always felt that we needed to be a destination. We wanted to serve all functions. But you brought music, and music was something really important to all of us. It's important to Kate. It's important to me. Live jazz. I mean, I think there's nothing that says the heart and soul about this place than some Ella Fitzgerald, or some Billie Holiday, or listen to some Louis Armstrong when you come in the morning, or whether it's just some Gregorian chant if you get lucky enough to come in 6:30 to 8 right now. That's the other day we had the music that came on. You know, we want to be a place of peace. We want you to leave all your issues at the door. We want you to come in and just savor what we have here. Enjoy what we've taken the time to put together that we know you're going to enjoy, that we painstakingly taken every opportunity not to cut any corners to bring to you an amazing product because we really care so much that I'm here all the time. So it's become that, and it's wonderful to see 1 year later, the reception that we get and the hard work is really, really it's appreciated.
I don't want you to give away trade secrets,
Sure.
but you're a real estate person.
Yeah.
And you switched over. Now you have this great coffee shop. What's the process? How do you go about finding the best coffee? How do you get it? How do you learn how to become a barista? I mean, there's so many.
No formal training in any of this. There's no formal training. We do things in our house the way we do, the way that we want, the way that we want you to have, the way that we want the public to have. We want also when you come in here to be reminded of your childhood. We want you when you come in and look at the case, say, "Oh my God, there's a rainbow cookie." Or look at that black and white. Or, "Oh my God, they have apple turnovers and they have cannoli donuts." I mean, they have coconut custard pie. Oh my God, they have lemon meringue. We want to take you back to a place where you're going to be happy, where when you sit and you meet someone that you want to hang out with, that you're really trying to get some business done, or you're just really trying to just hang out and get 10 minutes between shifts. This is a great place. It's really a great respite to hang your hat, whether you want to sit outside on the Adirondack chairs we have out there and throw bags by yourself a little bit. You want to listen to the jazz out here. You want to watch the sunrise come up. You want to sit and talk to me because I'll talk to you off anytime you want to talk. That's fine too. But there's a lot of things that you can do here, and the food is really to remind you of like when you come in to bring you to a place.
So I want to talk to you about your buyer. Your baristas, one of who is probably listening right now, are all fantastic. Waylon, Ivan, Samantha, they're all special. Dane, yeah, Dane, they're all special. How do you go about hiring? How do you find
Where's your first job? It's not your typical, and I'm not saying anything is typical. Or doing something typical. I'm saying I know our shop is definitely special. Things have specific things. We're very specific on it. And really, it took a while to hire people because we needed people who are going to be really good. We're not here for somebody to 1 or 2 days, 2 hours. We have a list of over 450 chocolates from all around the world that you have to have an understanding of. You have to be able to talk the talk and be able to advise people the right way. You have to make the coffee correctly. And before you even start to do the coffee here, you have to fully learn the food and register how to handle everything before you even get there. So hiring is when I say selective process, anybody can come in and fill out an application. Anybody can send that in. But we interview people and we don't overstaff. We have a certain amount of staff that we need, and anybody can always come and ask. But we really want to make sure, like any employer would, right? Like it's important, I think, first to be personable, customer service job, where you're sitting, your first initial interaction is with the customer coming through the door. It's really important to just organize them quickly. A lot of people come in, there's a lot going on in this store, and it's hard to kind of focus. So I think a lot of times when people come in and I'm alone and I have a chance, I offer them a piece of chocolate, right? It's a great icebreaker to come in and kind of take the sweat off of, oh my God, what should I try? What do you do? It's like, hey, come in, relax. You don't have to do anything. And that's the kind of atmosphere that we have, and I tell you, we have the most incredible thing. I mean, I have to tell you, son, we had, oh my God, we had Jack Schultz, we had Megan Sitzman. Thank God Jack Schultz was such an incredible help. Ivan, oh my God, Ivan is such an incredible. Ivan from Ukraine. Ivan is a great story about Ivan. He's like a brother. He's a wonderful guy. He's really he's wonderful. Maisie is so incredible. Maisie just started with us. Who's working today. I'm so proud of her. She gets comments all the time. She got the perfect atmosphere. She got the perfect attitude. You know what I'm looking for? You can talk. Maisie comes in with a smile on her face. She comes in the morning. She's happy. She likes to do things. We're really looking for people who want to take this more seriously than a job.
So I went to the baristas and asked them, what question do you have? So one of them, I'm not going to say who, wanted to know if you made a barista. So they can't,
the truth is, we as humans, we tend to want to judge and we tend to want a number of people. And I find myself, it's hard to help yourself from doing it. I don't do that with my kids. I don't do that here. And sometimes I try, who is the best? And I think And they're also individual, they're also special, but they're also simple. And the people that have worked with this shop were so incredible. They're really special kids. I mean, we had Jack and Megan. Megan was the valedictorian. Let me tell you about the type of staff. We had Jack Schultz, who won the Regeneron Science Award nationally for New York State. Boy, that kid's going places. Megan Sitzman, the valedictorian for West Hampton Beach High School. We had two leaders from one was field coach captain. We had Sam, we love Sam, doing the maple lattes. Maisie, who I already talked about, Sarah Tedesco, Braylon. Oh my God, these girls. Let me tell you, some of them are 15 and 16 and quality 35-year-olds. I tell them every day. So I've been patient in my work my whole life for finding people and getting help and only adding people who add nutritional value, who really can add the value that you need.
So let's talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart. That's chocolate. I love chocolate. And when I came in here the first time and I saw all that chocolate, I was like, oh my God, I'm a kid in the candy store. The chocolate store. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So then I started talking to you about chocolate, and you had this tremendous passion for chocolate. You had shown me the different chocolates and where it came from, and you really taught me about chocolate. So let's talk about chocolate.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it. One of my favorite things about the shop has been enjoying chocolate with you and a few other of our, everyday, friends, not regulars. I don't regulars. You guys are family. Chocolate. The question is, what? How did I get into it? Really?
No, you mentioned before a little bit about how you got into it. So let's start specifically. Find it, but you're passionate about it.
Yeah, chocolate is really incredible, and we felt that chocolate is really great because it's also peaty. The idea for chocolate and coffee together from the beginning, I don't know if a lot of people know, but if you go out in the wild, everywhere that coffee grows, there's chocolate. Wherever there's chocolate, there's coffee. It's a natural marriage in the wild, right? And so what we did was we took that natural marriage and put it in form. It's really hard to put that marriage, but we've done our best to do that. We have, when we're full at capacity of our current list, we're about 450 of the finest, of the smallest producers on it. That's cooperatives, could be 5, 6, 7-person cooperatives, could be one cooperative. It could be an estate owner who ferments and dries his own cacao beans and then ships it out to the chocolatier.
So how do you source it? And I want you to talk specifically about some of the bars, where they're from, and your passion.
So sourcing initially came from my first initial foray into chocolate when I was looking for the company. And then I really started doing my research and reach out. Look at the chocolate companies, I reach out to them individually. I went out to reach out to chocolate brokers and chocolate companies that I can get multiple things from. So chocolate comes from all. It comes from a lot of different sources. It comes direct, it comes from brokers, it comes from there's a lot of changes in the chocolate market right now too, if you take a look at chocolate futures, probably 3 or 4 months, especially in particular. I'm definitely not going to give out my secret sauce, but there's lots of areas to get that. And people can do their own research and that they like. But for me, what we did was go back to the question about why we added the things that we added here. We serve just 2 types of coffee. And the things that we serve here on top of chocolate are things that we fancy, things that we really think are things that fit the profile that we love and that we feel that our market really, really enjoys. And of course, we make the adjustments to anybody that goes in. If it's strong, whatever we can do. We use Kilcory, which is a single family out of Bologna since 1919. It's an incredible coffee, forte. You come in and you drink espresso every day. People drink it and you're like, wow, that's the best espresso I've ever had. It's well-rounded. It's really a special coffee. And then we have an organic Yemen bean that we sell, which is Yemen, Ethiopia, the birthplace of coffee. It is an incredible organic bean, untouched for thousands of years since the beginning of time. What I drink every day myself. It's got a little bit more caffeine. It's different. It's not as full up front, but you feel it later on. Those are the 2 coffees we have, and then we take decaf extremely seriously, just as seriously as we take everything else in the store. Because I have so much energy, I don't often drink so much caffeine, so I find myself drinking a lot of decaf. And I drink coffee because I like it, full strength. we use decaf here that I think is the best and that I've ever found. Most people have to come back and ask me if I forgot to make decaf. I would say that happens almost probably 60% of the time. So again, there's an incredible amount of care that goes into selecting everything here. Getting back to the chocolate, every single of the 450, forget that, probably 1,000 bars that I've had in that. I've tasted myself. I've ordered. I've tried. Nothing here have I not tried myself before I actually put on my shelf. There's a couple of things that maybe I knew that I would like that I've done and that I had them here. And then I made a mistake a couple of weeks ago with a bar that I bought that I didn't check because I liked something else that I didn't care for. We were talking, you and I, a little bit. So the chocolate bars are all individually tried. Typically when I put an order in, I get anywhere between 10 and 20 taster bars to always try to be ahead of it. If you look last weekend in the New York Times, there's a great article on the most chocolate's really a big thing now, the most expensive chocolate bar in the world, which comes out of Ecuador from Toac. Toac, I'm really proud to present as a company. That's the cacao powder that we use in everything that we've used since we've opened. We take our quality very, very, very more than seriously. It was really fulfilling to see the shout out from the New York Times on the real quality of what chocolate is, like real chocolate is today. And for people to be able to identify, hey, that's what I have when I go to Nice Place Coffee. Because I know when I go there, I'm going to get the best quality. Not because they say it's the best, because it actually is. So we try things. We don't just put them out there for the public. Like I said, when you come in here, everything here is here because we specifically placed it. I didn't just get somewhere and check a box. We didn't, every single item in the baked items, we want here. We baked here or we got it. Rainbow cook, all of those things in here. Almond horns, where can you get an almond horn? Chocolate cigar, where can you get a chocolate cigar? Where can you get a real rainbow cook? Where can you get a real vegan home-baked gluten-free muffin or cookies or 1,000-year-old medieval cake that we have local moms bake, or the local scones that one of the moms from the local elementary school gets on every day. The empanadas from Jesse, that's a little bit of a bigger operation, but still small. But we incorporate all the small. We have some big guys, right? Of course, but we really try.
Getting back to the chocolates, I see you got a few chocolates here. So just to give everybody, just like an example, take one. Where's it from?
So today, what I want.
Passion.
Oh man, chocolate is incredible. I mean, I tell you, it's amazing because I think people really have to understand in chocolate and wine are pretty much the same thing. With a few exceptions, they need to grow. Chocolate has to grow in a humid atmosphere. Really. That's not true. What's really important for chocolate are three things. It is elevation, proximity to the equator. Those are really the two most important things. Elevation, proximity to the equator. What you'll find is when you're having, in my experience, when you're having a cow from some places, from certain islands that are smaller islands, like Costa Rica and places like that, that don't have the elevation that, let's say, that Hawaii has, and places like that, you'll find the cacao will be a little bit more drier. It will be a little more piney, and that's because you'll get storms that come over often. It's low lying, so everything kind of gets damaged. What I put out for you today is I put out, I think, really a great mixture of some of my favorites that exist. One of my favorite is sold out, as they usually are, two of them. So what I brought out was his sister, which is the milk. So today we'll start with, which I don't usually, I start with the milk, but it's actually 50%. It's Freeze Mark, which is out of Denmark. I would tell you it's probably, one of the best, if not the best, one of the best chocolatiers on earth, I think. I think this is the best milk chocolate one could ever have. You and I have had this often together. It's really an incredible bar. Their cacao is Nicaraguan. They do a lot of Nicaraguan, Guatemalan, Honduran. Me personally, I'm very connected. I find that cacao to be particularly tasty, particularly dense, particularly satisfying. These are really full-bodied chocolates with beautiful legs of flavor that last well beyond when you put it in your mouth, and especially when you add that coffee behind it, it becomes incredible. It unleashes flavors that you didn't even know it had. And then you'll have chocolate like Manoa, God bless Hawaii. The only local cacao in the whole United States is grown in Hawaii. There's a company called Manoa out there. And one of my favorites is the Milani, which I don't have here, which I have inside. And you can have straight cacao that tastes like exactly what's growing above it and below it. And it tastes similar, and it tastes like sweet banana, yet there's no banana in it. That's because these things grow in areas that they take the flavor from the roots and what they're growing around. So the Ohio milk, what I'll typically do is, I'll open up a bar of chocolate. I'm actually going to start with the standout in Guatemala. This is really special. I've been having a bunch of this lately. Standout is out of Sweden. Was definitely my first favorite chocolatier when I started really getting into chocolate. They're incredible, single origin stuff. These guys are the real deal. Guatemala is particularly incredible. I know everyone thinks coffee, coffee, coffee. Guatemala's cacao is hands down some of the best on earth, in my opinion. It's just incredible. So what we're going to try right now is we'll try the pure Guatemala. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have the Guatemala, La Chua, which I think we have, but this never gets old. A lot of it never gets old. So I'll typically, if we come to the store, I'll break a chocolate bar up. I always tell people, take your time, put it in your mouth. It should always be room temperature. You shouldn't refrigerate your chocolate. You don't want that high heat cold on it. You want it to really take your time with this bar. This is really particularly beautiful dark chocolate, 70%. Don't guide people from Sweden on this particular label, kind of what they can expect on it. This, they would tell you citrus, strawberry, dark sugars. I don't know, what do you think? Chocolate. I think chocolate. I taste really good chocolate on this one, right? I think that, the other thing is that people's palates are always changing. Right? So what you may taste this morning after you brush your teeth, you may taste a little differently later. And that's why having a little bit of coffee with your chocolate without the sugar is really special, because it adds to and brings out all of the natural flavors in the cacao itself. They're literally perfect marriage. It's a symphony at work in your mouth when you put these two things together. Two things that grow together all over the world that naturally should be together. And when they get together, it's complete synergy. So this is a really special one. One of my favorites we're going to get into right now. Letterpress out of LA, California. These guys are rock stars in chocolate. They are my favorite. They're my favorite continental U.S. chocolatier at the moment. If you come to, this label, people come in, it's one of the ones I tell people, if you really want some of the best, you go to Ucali. Ucali, Peru, is one of the places in Peru that just has some of the most incredible taste cacao in the world. If you haven't had it and you like chocolate or dark chocolate, you come in and try this, it'll blow your socks off. And then you take Letterpress, who I think is, again, one of the, if not the best chocolatier that I've come across yet in the U.S. They just do such an incredible job. And when you're in this business and when you're tasting chocolate, you're always tasting your competitors of each other to find out who's really doing the best with the bean. And you can see the difference in their styles. And I think Letterpress is really, if you haven't had Letterpress, come in, come check out Letterpress. We can taste it. We can try it. But this is really, Cali Peru and coffee. You let me know what you think about this and what the difference between the La Chua, Guatemala, and what you feel the difference between your Cali Peru is. And this is especially beautiful when you have some coffee. Let me get it. I don't know why I didn't take a teaspoon of stuff. I'm going to add my chocolate to it. This is going to go through.
Different. I think I like the first better.
So this is a little less dense. It's a little sweeter, right? This one you're going to have, to me, is a little more, it's almost a little tobacco in that, right? I get the dark sugar tobacco. This to me is a little citrusy up front. And do you see how the change is coming down? It's like even how coming down your throat, I would change it from that, now you have like that happening in the honey. You have honey. Now you have honey in it. It actually turns into honey. It's really without coffee.
Looks delicious.
Yeah, 70%. Listen, there's these guys are all, everything in this store. What's really important to know is it's all fair trade. Everybody has been taken care of from the ground up. Nothing here. There's no backdoor deals. No one's getting railroaded. In fact, many of the companies go out and they go overboard. They support the local communities that they work with. They offer health insurance. They give immunization. They give women's empowerment. They give all kinds of really wonderful things. Like Goodyo does that with Window Coffee. And some of the best bars are actually the coffee chocolate. You know, you have a bar from Quantum, uh, which is, which is white cacao from Moroccan, Peru. And then they take the local St. Ignacio coffee that grows right there. And they put it in the local cacao right there. It is one of the most fantastic flavors you'll ever have. Like we've had before. The same thing with that's with Quant, and then you have Ubuntu Coffee who gives out health insurance. You know, so a lot of these places are not just they don't just turn out an amazing product and representing great people, but they're employing lots of people. They're paying everybody fair trade and doing the responsible thing and bringing you chocolate. You know, they're bringing you chocolate at its finest. Yeah. That's what they're doing. They're bringing you chocolate as it should be.
That's all. I have just a couple more questions. I'll let you get back to CD. Present to you. Got the shirt here. Which it's called the Nice.
Yeah, for just show you one of the things shirts here. Well, people really love this shirt. Big coffee and maybe 3 people. All right, so Mark is always one of those 3 people. All right,
comes out there. So this place is called Nice Place. How'd you get the name?
I did it. It was actually another name that Kate and I came up with, and then she really wanted to change it. She hated the other name, and of course, so we changed it immediately. I didn't really get it at first. It was like odd. Like I was all right, Nice Place coffee and chocolate. I was like, all right. And really, what had happened was Kate is an interior designer, graduated interior designer, and when she started her interior design, it was Nice Place Kate. And so, because this was something we were doing, I have my the 4A group, I have Church Hampton, I have enough media and things out there. It was a good opportunity to keep it out of school, to have like a springboard and some additional things. She designed this whole place to the nines, everything's sustainable, renewable. It's really an incredible atmosphere. It's one of the first things people say when they come in. They say, wow, what a gorgeous place, really. And then they get to the chocolate, and then they look at the art, and then they see the coffee, and they're like, oh, cow, what the hell do I do here? Then I come out with a piece of chocolate. So the name was Nice Place Coffee and Chocolate, and over the last year, people really liked it. It also, not something I thought about or Kate thought about anyway, it was just something she had. It's worked out to be a really nice search thing in terms of when people are looking. Like people, nice place, it doesn't come up, but if you Yelp us, if you're anywhere around, we always come up with the number 1 cup of coffee within a very good amount of time and raw goods. And it was Kate's. It was my co-owner, my partner's idea. It was a great name. We like it.
Cheers. Cheers to Kate.
Yeah.
Cheers to Kate.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. So as we come to the end here, I always like to ask this question. Is there one question that you wish I asked? Or is there anything that you want to end?
Yeah, I just think that, the preface of this was how do you manage it all? How do you do it? Right? And you have to do it if you're going to do it. And it is hard, but you have to be humble. And the first thing in any business, in anything you do, you have to be humble. You have to constantly be humble. Every day. Being humble, just like when I started real estate when I was maybe on the years, 25 years ago, you have to be humble and you have to put your time in, you have to work. And if your heart's not in it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And I really think that's a really great litmus test, not just for what I'm doing, but for life. So in a world where there's so much opportunity and there's so much to do, I think there's 2 things that are incredibly important. One is that you can't do it all by yourself, and you're only as good as your team. You have to be humble and be a good example for the people and for the community about you. And you have to really care and have passion for what you do. Because if you don't, it's just going to turn around in some day. So make sure that what you're working on and putting all your effort in, it's going to maximize value.
Evan Church, you've said it all. Thank you for coming on to Coffee with Krav. Really, really, really appreciate it. Cheers to you. Thank you. And that's it for Coffee with Krav for this time, and we will see you next time. Thank you.